picture this. He wins. And then all of the people that think, oh man, what a great idea, they decide, you know what, they've got a socialist mayor in New York, let's go to New York. So then you get all the fucking socialists and socialist sympathizers to go, and then you get all the capitalists to fucking move out. Like, it would just be beautiful to watch, like what would happen over a 10-year period when their policies are the ones that are put in place, and when the people that like those policies, capitalism can only be leached from so far. And what they're going to realize is that, the only reason they even get an opportunity to to enact some of these policies is because they're a parasite that leeches off of capitalism.
I agree, and here's another case in point, because I just remember this. KK had talked about this a while ago. Cuomo himself, during the pandemic, came on public TV and pushed back against a lot of these socialist ideas. And one of his closing arguments is, I'm asking my rich colleagues, I'm asking for the wealthy investors, I'm asking for people to move back to the city. And they're telling me no. We can't implement a lot of these socialist dream wishes because they won't come back and invest in you. And those companies and those people still haven't come back to New York City. And if you push them out further, those investments going to Dallas or Florida or Carolinas, they're going to stay there. They're not going to relocate billions of dollars to operate in another state and then say, you know what, oh, New York City, they just had a bad idea. They're never coming back. Once you lose that financial market, your fashion market, your power, New York City's excellence is not recognized around the world. That market will move, and you'll have places like Dallas recognized as the epicenter. It'll become one of those, financial markets where the movers and shakers go to. And if you think they won't, they already did it once, and that was just under the pandemic, and they had a centrist, if you want to go Democrat, that was kind of retarded, but he at least kept that, he recognized where his bread was buttered and where most of New York City bread was buttered. And he had losses. If this guy gets in there, it's fucking done. Just look at AOC's district. She's not brought one single job to her district. She's not contributed, and her district's a shithole. And it's all progressive socialist run. Nobody wants to live there. Nobody enjoys it.
Don't a lot of those companies already have an exit strategy, like other offices elsewhere to move? A lot of the bigger financial institutions.
Yeah, they're most of them are already operating out of Connecticut. I think Roger's more well versed in the economic market movers and shakers than I am. But I know that they have offices that they're developing there, and they're also building them in Austin, in Texas. You have even California's hemorrhaging movers and shakers there. They're already building in Houston, Texas. Like, they're taking Texas. So if Texas becomes the financial capital of the United States and the big mover and shaker, you think somehow a very vastly Republican state is going to, sit there and tolerate like a New York? No, they're not. They're going to keep those financial interests afloat. They're already moving. Just look.
Abby, you've got the plus mark. What are you getting from the plus mark?
Oh, I have no idea. I just clicked on it. So what am I getting from it? I guess the anonymous thing, if I want to use it.
I was just going to ask, have you used the anonymous feature, Abby?
Hold on one second. I'm just getting my car somewhere. Have I used it? I used it in one of the hate rooms. And one of the very liberal rooms. Two, I've used it. Just because the one guy calls me out and yells at me if he sees me in the audience.
That is the exact same reason, well, almost, that JB said he uses it, because he wants to anonymously check out rooms where people constantly call him out and disrespect him.
Yeah,
they're cowards, though. Those are always cowards. So, like, you can identify. We're not new to Clubhouse. We're all old veterans of it. Like, the same shit happens to Roger, happens to me. They'll create a room, call you out, and say, oh, what a danger and threat you are to democracy for your ideas or viewpoints or your comments. And then, you know, it's speaking from some Brazilian fucking embassy. And then they'll...
Bingo, that's the guy.
and then when you go in there and say, here, challenge me, or come up on stage and challenge me, what do? They run and create a room, and then they have these whole socialites, oh, like, I know best. Dude, you played a guitar your entire life and were a welfare cuck. That is the extent of what your contribution is. Like, don't spare me with your fucking intellectual knowledge on how the U.S. government and geopolitics and how cultural wars are significant to you. Like, peace, love, dope. You should have stayed in the 60s.
Well, that, if I may very quickly, that room that both of you are referring to is admittedly an echo chamber. They don't want to hear opposing opinions. And even if you're in the audience listening, my understanding is if they know you to be, it could be very respectful, very well-versed, very expressive, but it's the opposing opinion, they will kick your ass out of there.
That's why I miss Greg Sotelo. I honestly do. Having met the guy, I miss his dog walk rooms. I could argue with him till he would get mad as hell. But you know what? The man would sit down and have a beer with me.
Greg?
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, I met him. And I had coffee with him. I totally agree with you. You can sit down and talk with him.
Yeah, I love the man. I still consider him a friend today. If he called me up and said, hey, I need you here, I'd show up. I'd be like, let's rock and roll.
So here's the difference with Greg and those people, because he agrees with them on like probably 98% of the issues. The difference is he also, as a first principle, is a heterodox thinker, and he will allow room for you to disagree. And so he was, I don't know if you guys remember, they tried canceling him and went into this big old thing about how he was such a bad guy and a misogynist and this and that and the other thing. And I disagree with Greg on virtually everything, but I have a lot of respect for him in the fact that he can represent what he believes, and he can have a conversation with people, like just as you were saying, you can have a beer with them. The difference is that he's not threatened. Like when you start taking these political ideas and then like make it part of your personality, then when somebody disagrees with you, you feel like like threatened in some way. And I think that the intelligent people, and Greg is one of them, are able to have those conversations without feeling threatened because he genuinely believes he's right. He genuinely believes that his ideas are best, and so he's willing to listen to yours, and he'll try to convince you where you're wrong, and have those conversations. The others, they don't want to have that conversation, and they don't want to have that conversation because they just don't have the depth, and so that's the thing. When they try to dismiss you like that, they just don't have depth.
Well, it's similar to there's a couple other rooms that are run, like the one that has Alzheimer's thinking forum. That one is again, it's just a collection of people, and not all of them, but it's like any amount of disagreement is immediately condemned and shot down, and it's like it turns into a whole rally. And like Greg, you're right. He would allow an argument, but he would believe he's right. But I also have watched Greg concede that he's been wrong, which is really great. I've been wrong many times, but Greg has also conceded on that front, and it was respectable. And again, I can admire somebody. You can come from a different lens. Like, we're good. We can still have a beer, and still watch the kids play together and have a great time. But I don't know. Some of these other rooms, it's just I don't know where to go. Like, I gave up doing political rooms for a reason, Roger, because it was just, everything Trump bad. Nothing in this country was ever really discussed at a high level, and then it just kind of got boring.
I mean, the irony with Greg is that when we met, we're like from kind of the same neighborhood, grew up very similarly. We have like 1 million people in common. But we're basically, it's not that we were so different from each other. This is very different viewpoints, but culturally very much similar, and there were no differences, but for our political differences. But I found it to be incredibly pleasant and reasonable that way.
Yeah.
So
And I've had heated arguments.
If I'm in the audience of the other one, he will say my name and start cursing about me. So if you ask me, I can't go in there, or this anonymous thing is kind of the only way if I feel like listening to it, but not that much.
Well, let me ask you this: why is anybody even curious to listen to that? Like, I've always wondered, like, the people that think that, like, I'm full of shit or I'm an asshole or they just can't tolerate me in some way. I don't understand why people that don't want to hear this stuff, if that's their position, then why do they come around? Like, they would come in these rooms. They're probably in this room right now. At least some of them. I just don't get that, and I like. So, Abby, explain to me why you want to listen to what they have to say.
I for lots of reasons, but some of it has to do with kind of knowing how far they'll, what their plan of action is, how far they plan to go. I mean, especially with a lot of the protests, I want to hear, like, what's motivating them and also what they're planning to do. I mean, in some of these spaces, you can hear people that are actually in that space. That guy was talking about going in and slapping or hitting and taking out, like, by physical against someone else. I can't remember all the context of it, but he actually was talking about that. So so my curiosity is just to not so much that I need to be in an echo chamber. I mean, I'll be happy to debate anyone, but I want to hear where they plan to take it.
Yeah, Abby, I have to agree with you with that. I mean, that's maybe my psych major. I like knowing why people think the way that they think. And Roger, I like the anonymous thing because I don't. I like to be able to listen in when I've got the kids, and I'll generally pop up unanonymously when I'm able to talk, or if it's a long time or a short time. Because I always feel bad. I'll be honest. I'm just a girl. I feel bad denying an invite to come on stage to talk. I actually feel.
You do it to me every day.
I listen. I come in here so that I'm in the room, JB, but it breaks my heart because I'm like, oh my God, I have to say no, and I feel bad. I actually genuinely feel bad, and I know it's silly, but that's just me.
Let those polyurethane bags and toe tag you, send your ass down to the park.
Mm-hmm. It would be good compost. Wouldn't that be good compost though?
Allows me to not feel guilty for denying to come on stage, because I only go into spaces with people that I like or people that have vastly different perspectives of me, because I find the mind so interesting. I love to see how absolutely warped people think, and I get a kick off of hearing what created that, what was their environment, what is their upbringing, what lies do they tell to justify why they feel that way. It's actually quite fascinating. So anyways.
And with that, I want to welcome back JB, and your timing is impeccable because I have to get the heck out of here. It was a pleasure and a privilege helping run your room. Goodbye, everybody on stage. Goodbye, everybody in the audience. And a shameless plug, and I'll land it here. For those of you that have not been to my Saturday or Sunday morning rooms, you all are encouraged to come in, get your fresh vibe. Even if you totally disagree with me, just have a take and don't suck. Be careful on the clubhouse streets. Ciao.
Thanks, Steve.
But I wanted to say, Roger, the reason I'll listen to them is because it saves me the hours of going through and having to research it through Twitter or online news sources. Because I could read CNN. I don't pay attention to a lot of any of the primary news sites, Fox, CNN, or them. I'll actually research and kind of look at what's trending and see and dive into it, and watch the U.S. government sites as well as some state government sites. But when I
He
hear
looks
these
at
guys,
state
it's like
government
it seems to be
websites.
time like having to read or look through the twaddle that exists on like Clapper, Crapper, Twitter, Twatter, Extra, whatever the fuck app that there is out there. I don't really want to sit there and spend my days doing that, and I work while I'm on Clubhouse. Like I'm spending my time fucking right now working. I don't want to have to deal with that
Really?
shit.
You're working
So
while you're
I
talking
hear
on
what you're
Clubhouse?
saying. I guess and I used to like hearing this stuff, but now what I've realized is that they're so diluted that their thoughts don't even make sense. Like if you listen to them describe where they thought the country was heading into last month before the election, they had this view because they were so much in their echo chamber that they thought that they were going to win. They really thought they were going to win. In fact, when I would predict, that Trump was going to win and win in a landslide, you have some of them that would hedge a little bit and go, well, only if the country is still as racist as it's always been. They say something stupid like that. But oftentimes they would just be like, oh, you're just wrong and you don't understand politics. And so when I called it nearly perfect, the only person that called it more exact than I did was Beaver. I'll give him his credit. He called he pinpointed 100% the electoral count. You gotta give him his props. I've seen the pre-election post that he had where he called it out specifically. So you do gotta give props where it belongs. So he's the only person that called it more perfectly than I did. But I was very vocal about, it was going to be a landslide for Trump. These guys, they don't touch grass. They don't understand this at all. They didn't understand the tide was turning. They didn't understand what was turning the tide. They didn't understand the people that were leaving their tribe. They just didn't understand any of it. They didn't get it because they don't talk to people in good faith. And I think that should be the rule moving forward. Is like, hey, look, if you're willing to discuss these things in good faith, welcome to the table. Let's have a conversation about it. But if what they feel is that they don't want to hear you, let them be in their echo chamber. Let them just go as far into the abyss as humanly possible. Now, the only exception I would make to that, and maybe this could be where you guys are going with this, is that if what they're planning and plotting is criminal, and you want to eavesdrop on that and to be able to be aware of that, that's fine. But as far as oh, they're going to strategically come up with some idea that's going to take over the world, probably not. They're the dumbest of the dumb.
Well, I agree with you. And yes, I will co-sign and say that I've known Beaver since season 1, and Beaver is, he was great. He did predict. He even helped in some of our club rooms, and Beaver's always been really great. But aside from that, I agree with you, but I would say it was interesting to have the debates because you had people that are sitting there going, I don't know which side I want to believe. I don't know which ideas to hear. I hear this and I hear that, and it's a lot of rhetoric. And when you actually get these individuals and you see what they're coming with, and then you're able to expand on it, you're able to counter it, then all of a sudden, those people in the middle were they were able to see, and they reacted accordingly in this past 2020 election. How many people say that they don't really like Trump, but they voted for the guy? Tell me where these progressives think they had any gains. You didn't. You had a sweep. You got spanked like you were a newborn, just born. It was sad, and you're still crying about it. You're holding up fucking a county in New York and saying, "Proof the election was rigged and stolen." Who the fuck rigged it? It was your administration. Kamala was the VP. If anybody was going to rig it, it was her. And oh, by the way, she won New York. So Rockland County doesn't fucking count. It doesn't matter if you found inconsistency, because she won it. No one gives a shit. Your state's going down anyway. So, I mean, at the end of it, I guess I'm with you. There's no more. The further they move, the dumber they sound. And I mean, how many points are you and I going to debate? UBI, universal health care. What else is there? How socialism, how everything should be free, but yet somehow or another you should get a pay increase. What else is there? Oh, that everybody should have their gender just removed and everybody be equal, but nobody wants to have that because everybody wants to play the oppression Olympics and wants to virtue signal that they need to get special treatment. Everybody should have free education for the rest of their life so they can get educated to do fucking what? Just live off of the government tit? How to sign their name at the bottom of a form? I don't understand, like, any of these ideas that we've battled for 4 years on this island.
Yeah.
Roger, to answer something that you asked, I wish that the anonymous thing existed right after the election. So some of those spaces where I just wanted to hear the errands, like, just cry, and the goats and all the people that were jumping on us, just to be able to go in those spaces and sit and listen without, your name being there would have been great. Like that's something that in hindsight would have been an enjoyable time of it.
But hey, you know what? The one person that I wanted after the election was fucking Biden, and that piece of shit. He was the one that constantly was the troglodyte that went into rooms. So Roger, you know him well. Isaiah, Thugger Biden, whatever fucking name he wanted to go by that week. This was interesting because he got ran off the app afterwards. Go too, like, cried about how great the Democrat is, how great Biden was. All of these people that were backing up shit that nobody believed, nobody anywhere. You lost solid blue districts. Like, I don't even know how. Like B plus 8, B plus 100, and you still lost districts.
Yeah.
How the
Well, I will tell you how that happened. It's a combination. It's not just one thing, but you have to fucking tip your hat to fucking what Trump was doing. When he was listening to, like, he would listen to his kid that would tell him, like, hey, you should go on this podcast, go on that podcast. He was going on these niche podcasts and tapping into fucking people that typically don't even vote. And he would just go there and, like, the people that don't vote, they're maybe not apolitical, but they're just not motivated enough to go vote. And all they would hear is they'd hear the one crazy uncle that loves Trump, and then they'd hear the other crazy uncle that thinks that Trump is a fascist, right? And so they don't know what to think. And then they'd see him on a fucking podcast, being a human being, cracking jokes and just being fucking a normal dude. And they were like, wait a minute, this guy doesn't seem like any of the stuff that people have described him as. I think what happened was, this is a glimpse into the future of how campaigns are going to be ran and how you can reach audiences in a way that traditional media didn't allow you to before. I think that he outsmarted them in every way in this election. And, by the way, they ran a terrible campaign. They picked a terrible person. They ran a terrible campaign. And the person here's the crazy thing. You spend all this time talking about defund the police, and then you run a prosecutor. It's just like, I can tell you that there are people that are far left that hate Donald Trump that stayed home and didn't vote for her. I know some of these people. I know people that are very far left. I'm talking people that live in Berkeley, right? That just can't stand Kamala Harris, and for completely different reasons than we can't stand her. And so they ran somebody that was so unlikable that the far right was going to hate her, the far left hated her. The only people that were in support of it were the delusional, never Trumpers, and then the people that just, don't think for themselves and just check a box for anybody that's got the fucking, the blue.
Yeah, Roger. So, hold on, Nathan, a second. Yeah, Roger, I agree with you because that podcast on Joe Rogan, if you look at it, it excoriated, like, Bernie did not do well on the Joe Rogan podcast. Like, he just did. Like, Rogan cooked him in ways that were glaring. And Rogan did kind of cook Trump did Trump things. But Trump came off as, like you said, normal and everything else. And Rogan was able to kind of push on Bernie even, and get Bernie to become wishy-washy in terms of his support and all of these, like, moral beliefs that he held. And Rogan kind of showed him very softly, like, hey, you're flipping on this. You're being hypocritical. And it's true. 3 hours on a podcast is going to expose you. It's going to sit there and show your true colors. And I think a lot of people on the left got exposed. Rogan's going to be the test case. He's going to do it again. And hopefully, if somebody's going to back somebody, that they're able to survive that for 3 hours.
Well, Mojo, you made a great point, and it goes way back, right? And people don't want to talk about it. The start of the downfall of the Democrats, right? It started with Hillary Clinton, right? And I was talking to my Republican friends, and we made a great point to this. We know that pretty much all Republicans hate Hillary Clinton, right? Check. We know that half of the Democrats don't like her either. Check. Why in the hell would you run somebody like that, right? And that's their problem. They go like a prosecutor as it goes against common sense, and that's why Donald Trump blew them out of the water, because they don't have any common sense. They would say, hey, I'm misogynistic because I'm like, hey, I would rather have Bernie because his policies. Well, Nathan, you're this. And that's pretty much call me every name in the book, and now I'm gone. That was Democrat Party. So, I mean,
the difference only with Hillary and Kamala is that Hillary actually won a primary. Like, you have to acknowledge that. Yeah, I agree with you. Both really stuck candidates, but at least one of them democratically won a primary.
Yeah, when I talk to Democrats about it, some serious Democrats, they're like, well, we know we cheated against Bernie, we rigged it, we didn't have a primary for Kamala, right? So what? Just deal with it. You can't with those type of shenanigans. You're going to lose people, independents. You're going to lose a lot of people, and that's the unfortunate thing. But I don't think that the Democrat Party is going to win, even when Donald Trump, his term is up. I seriously don't think that the Democrats will win an election.
I actually think there's a possibility, but it's not going to happen in the near future. But I think that just like the Republican Party has had, some shaping that's gone on, if the Fetterman voice could resonate loud enough and the normal people rise up and say, you know what, this guy's talking sense. If the Democratic Party were to be reimagined under the image of Fetterman, I think they would win in a landslide.
Brother, it's too. Listen, I tell people this, right? I used to be a Democrat. Now, if I have a conversation with conservatives, Brad, AB, and they would have like a 10-minute conversation without you cursing me out, they lost. I just don't see it happening. They cannot talk to an independent and convince an independent to vote their way, right? And
they need to understand the issues where they get play and the issues where they don't. For example, the abortion issue is still a winning issue in most states. It's a winning issue, right? And on a national scale, it's a winning issue for Democrats because the majority of voters nationally are more sympathetic to pro-choice than pro-life views. I know that there's going to be people that don't like that, but that's the truth. If they were to just talk about that a little bit more, right, and then they could talk about Social Security, because even though hardcore conservatives will rally against social programs include Social Security, for the most part, there's not going to be a huge pushback because Republicans are worried about, you can't let them do the, we're going to let grandma and grandpa starve thing. So if they push on those things, they win pretty big. But then they do dumb things that don't poll well, like when they go after guns, for example. Now if you frame a question around gun control about, hey, do you think there should be common sense gun control? They won't tell you what the bill's going to be, but the common sense gun control, that'll poll well. But then when they start talking about what they want to do, then almost every time those things poll terribly, unless you're in an inner city, in a community that's just fucking a bunch of radicals, right? If the Democrats shut up about gun control and just doubled down on abortion and protecting Social Security, I think they would win in a landslide. It's just about, like, you got to know who your friends are, you got to know who your enemies are, you got to know who's winnable, who's reachable, and Republicans had to go like change their image under Trump in order to be able to pull off a landslide. Like, traditional talking points weren't going to win. The one thing that does go really well for Republicans is tax cuts. Tax cuts are always going to be popular because even the Democrats that are like, oh, hey, this is it's tax cuts for the rich, I'm against it. The reality is a lot of Democrats are like, the rank and file are going to say to themselves, they're going to vote Democrat because of all these other issues, but that's not the compelling issue because most people fucking hate taxes. Most people fucking hate it.
And sometimes, man, you got Democrats, that they're two-faced, right? And, they really want those tax cuts, and it's going to financially benefit them. And secondly, too, we talk about abortion, things like that, right? But people really care about the economy and putting food on the table, right? And Donald Trump talks about, hey, I'm trying to increase your finances and put money in your pocket. And I might have some personal issues with Trump or whatever type of issues, but the number one, right, is about money. People get happy. People remember two things. Hurt, and you slap them in the face, they're going to always remember it. And they're going to remember if you made a lot of money, if you made it possible for you to obtain more money. That's how humans are. And when Donald Trump was president before COVID-19, things were going in the right direction. He came out with money solutions for everybody, right? And yeah, man, this I think it's going to be a wrap. But I could be wrong. Hopefully things can change. But I think that Trump is going to win again.
I disagree with Roger on the abortion issue. I think the Democrats, if you remember the midterms under Trump, they, for lack of a better phrase, they shot their wad way too early. They spent so much money on the abortion issue, and, its controversial nature of it. And I agree with Roger. The polling does suggest otherwise. However, if you get to more nuance of the polling, people are often somewhere in the middle, which seems to coincide with like what Europe has, and you'll look at in various regions have different beliefs, and that's fine. I think what Trump did was actually save the Republicans. Yes, they did take a bath at that midterms, but in the future, I think he saved the Republican Party from it by saying it's a state issue. It's not going to be a federal. Now, Democrats could try to run on it, and they did under Kamala. But here's the evidence that I say that abortion is no longer a national top-tier issue that's going to propel Democrats to get on board. Is places like Arizona, the left won. On the state level, you guys on the left won. If you were pro-abortion, you fucking won. More states have securities and measurements, even further reaching in terms of protecting abortion rights that you claim on, that, pro-abortion. These states have further, guarantees, securities than even under Dobbs. Like, people don't even understand, under Dobbs, you didn't have, states had to align with certain policies. You didn't have the abortion, policies that you have in many of these states. And in fact, places like Arizona voted to pass these pro-abortion policies, and at the same time voted for Donald Trump, which would be indicative of the fact that on the state level, I think people are recognizing that they want this way. Now, your state may not guarantee you all that you wish for, and those on the left, but you're not the majority in those states that are kind of doing that. And if you want to push for it, you can. You can put it up on the ballot. You can go ahead. The people of that state will vote on it on the state level, and they'll either pass it or they won't. But if you lose on it, you can't claim that it needs to be federally done, because, quite frankly, if it did federally, there would come restrictions, and you wouldn't have the way abortion is in, say, Oregon, California, Washington, Minnesota, Michigan. You wouldn't have those same rights. You didn't even have those same rights even under Dobbs before Roe v. Wade was overturned. So I disagree with Roger on the abortion. I don't think it's a winning strategy just to scream about abortion, because that's not going to propel you forward, and it's never going to get passed on a federal level any damn way. Nobody's going to sign off on that. So, and then you can't litigate it because the Supreme Court has never determined when is the beginning of life in this country. When do we recognize it on a legal level? So, if we can't do those things, then the states is the only way to go, and Democrats, you shot your wad. You nutted too early.
Yeah, it's another thing. It's like liberal fatigue is going on right now. Like, I'm done. Like, I gotta take a phone call. But there is such a thing as liberal fatigue going on right now.
I'm just keeping this room open for Roger and all those there. Anybody wants to come up, go ahead. You can offer your spin, your points, whatever you want to talk about. Just keep it civil. So does anybody want to talk about the original topic? Do you want to talk about the latest trade relations? In regards to what Trump just did with terminating Canada trade talks over digital service tax? What else? The court decisions. It's been a wrap up. There was 5 decisions. Does anybody want to talk about any of those? You got the dating, or I don't really want to talk about the dating.
That we're currently in, you can't get like basic things like toilet paper. So,
So you wipe your ass with your hands.
exactly, or you just hop in the shower.
No, or you use fiber and buy a bidet.
Fiber. Okay.
Fiber.
To cleanse your clock. Okay. Well, yeah, just drink soup all day. That ought to be watering. Okay. Lisa, you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? No? Okay.
Hey,
Let's get ready to roll. Hey, you guys. Okay, so this one is about Trump second shocker. No, I don't want that one. Here's the one from a few hours ago. Trump demands end to. Oh, that's old. Okay. So anyway, he's crazy. Trump is crazy. I'm gonna get the whole damn speech because he's been talking about. He's so crazy and he's so childlike and he's just so basically dumb that he talks like he's talking. Well, I guess he is talking to 5-year-olds. Okay, I apologize, you guys, because President Trump's vocabulary is just so mediocre that I think maybe he's doing it on purpose. Let's see. Let me pull him up.
No, he's losing his brain.
He's losing the brain. Okay, hold on. Let me give you the whole thing here. Praise the Supreme Court's. I told you this was gonna happen. Can I get some money? Can I put my cash app up? I said that this birthright citizenship, and you guys fought. Where's Black Freedom? All y'all. So now, leave my throat is hurting. Trump praised the Supreme Court's curb on birthright citizenship. So that's the one that's been on all damn day. And then also something with you guys heard about that? No? Yes?
Yeah, but it's not
Yeah, I heard
exactly
something. Hey,
constitutionality.
It's not the constitutionality of it, by the way.
So wait, what happened with the person?
Do you want to hear?
Oh, sure, I want to hear.
Not from his perspective, no.
Hey, Nathan. Hey,
That's the one we're talking about. What other perspective are you going to give
Well,
us?
there could be a good analysis of it, but go ahead. You can, run the liar's words.
It's funnier when it comes from.
No, we have to hear the liar's words, and then we can hear an actual.
Okay, Scotty Plus, please put your plus on mute. Go ahead, Lisa.
I have 1 week left of this plus, so you're gonna feel my.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I thought it was only 7 days.
The 7 more.
All right. And here we go. I'm ready. 1 and a 2 and a. Oh, speaker needs to be.
You are a
That was funny. That was funny. That was funny. Yeah.
5 yards slowly.
I have this water out here.
I just had my last cigarette.
Oh my God, please stop.
I really did. I just had my last smoke. Never smoking again.
Your congratulations, man. God bless you. I believe you did it, brother. Congratulations, my guy.
I just found out a friend of mine
It's a
has.
filthy state.
No, but I just found out a friend of mine has. He got his voice box removed, all the shit removed from his neck. I'm done. I can't do anything.
Drop your address, Matt, and I'll send you a case of sick.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. How?
This was a big decision.
I thought you Democrats was nice to me.
Lisa's playing out.
We're very happy about. This morning, the Supreme.
Wait, what did he say? What's that one?
Lisa, please play the clip. Please play the clip.
It's just weird. I thought I heard somebody say you Democrats. It's not even.
No. Just clip.
Okay, clip. Okay, got it.
Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, separation of powers, the rule of law, in striking down the excessive use of nationwide injunctions to interfere with the normal functioning of the executive branch. The Supreme Court has stopped the presidency itself. That's what they've done. And really, it's been an amazing period of time this last hour. There are people elated all over the country. I've seen such happiness and spirit. Sometimes you don't see that, but this case is very important. I was elected on a historic mandate, but in recent months we've seen a handful of radical left judges effectively try to overrule the rightful powers of the president to stop the American people from getting the policies that they voted for in record numbers. It was a grave threat to democracy, frankly, and instead of merely ruling on the immediate cases before them, these judges have attempted to dictate the law for the entire nation. In practice, this meant that if any one of the
Wow, Lisa, you were just getting good.
You know what?
No, it's more garbage. More garbage.
Yeah,
No,
the Supreme
this is
Court.
what they do.
No,
Don't talk
this is
over
not a
me.
stop for a
This is what
dissertation.
happens.
This is not a stop for a dissertation. I'm just going for clarification. Do you guys understand what he is talking about?
He doesn't talk about shit. He's lying. You need an analysis of the ruling.
Okay.
So I need a proper analysis
So
of
let
the
me
ruling,
keep going.
not propaganda.
Wait a minute, wait, stop
So
it.
let me keep
And then
going.
stop having MAGA come in and do victory laps every time.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is great. God is great.
All right.
God hates you.
What the hell? Stop.
Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
Jesus. All right, Lisa, put your cash app up.
No, seriously. I'm gonna put my Zelle and my Cash App and my Bitcoin. Y'all tripping. Just listen.
Let me get Bitcoin.
This is crazy. This is why you guys, we're going into a serious situation here with this president and the court. And I said it was going to happen. And people are like, oh, it can't go against the fact. Oh, there's the courts. It's going to happen.
So, Lisa, this actually didn't rule on the birthright citizenship.
No. We talk about something else. We'll get to that. We haven't still. He's gonna talk about that. This is 50 minutes. I just stopped it after the first two because I couldn't believe what this nigga's saying. Okay, so let me just play the whole thing out. I'll try not to talk. It's gonna be hard, but let me.
No, you don't have to play the whole thing, Lisa, but But Lisa,
No, Anthony. We gotta play what we gonna listen to. We gonna stop it every once in a while because I know you guys go pee in your depends if it goes through the whole 50 minutes. So
I have to tell them all I wear depends.
You can empty your
I thought that was
Foley.
our secret.
You can empty your Foley and come back and we'll
Empty my
keep
Foley
looking
is
into it.
nasty work, Lisa. You know
Very,
what?
and it's nasty too. Okay, go ahead. Here we go.
Federal judges disagreed with the policy of the newly elected President of the United States. He or she could block that policy from going into effect or at least delay it for many years, tied up in the court system. This was a colossal abuse of power which never occurred in American history prior to recent decades, and we've been hit with more nationwide injunctions than were issued in the entire 20th century together. Think of it, more than the entire 20th century, me. I'm grateful to the Supreme Court for stepping in and solving this very, very big and complex problem, and they've made it very simple. I want to thank Justice Barrett, who wrote the opinion brilliantly, as well as Chief Justice Roberts, and Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas. Great people. Thanks for this decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country.